Well, it's been around for over 20 years. It's a brick and mortar for about 20. We actually made 20 years out during COVID, which was like, are you kidding me right now? Like we were not up.
Welcome to the Phase 4 podcast, inspired by Vishen Lakiani and Ajit Nawalkar, co-founders of EverCoach, a division of Vine Valley. In this podcast, we speak to coaches and creatives about where they were, where they are, and where they are going. This is the intersection of what we focus on expands, and your story is your superpower. My guest today is Candace Combs. She's a TMJ specialist, a structural bodyworker, health and wellness coach. She's a small business consultant. She owns an amazing spa called In Symmetry Spa. And she has a cool website where she talks about sober reset. We're going to get into all of it today. And Candace, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. I always just like to begin with, tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you ended up in this space. But for you, it might be 6 or 7 spaces.
Yeah, it honestly, they all come together, but it is a funny journey. And I apologize. I'm going to cough a little bit because I'm getting over a cold and it all is in my chest. So this all started out, I'm from New Orleans, New Orleans originally. And I was going to say New Orleans, Louisiana, because you're from Canada. So, and I moved out to San Francisco in 1991. New Orleans was sort of, at that point, it was struggling. It was going nowhere. I think the oil industry, it's always up and down, up and down. So I saw my life kind of just heading in a direction that I wasn't happy with. And one of my friends had lived out here and wouldn't shut up about it. So I moved out and I've been in San Francisco on and off for over 30 years, but 98% of my time is spent here. I lived in LA for a couple of years and then I lived in Seattle for a little over a year. So, but I'm in love with San Francisco in the Bay Area. And now my wife and I own a house here, raising the kid and all the things, the dog and the 2 cats. So I got here in 91 and I rode out the wave of the 90s in the tech industry. I was always great with computers. That was when I hated school, passionately hated school. I have the typical entrepreneur story, which is I hate school but I love businesses and I love working. So that's me. The ADHD mindset, but I was always great with computers. So I headed into the computer industry, I think in 95, 96. I worked for Microsoft up in Washington State, right outside of Seattle. Then moved back to the Bay Area, rode out that wave of the .com wave. And I was just sick of it. By the time I was 28 years old, I was making great money. I mean, great money. I had a ton of stock. I was making 6 figures, but I hated it. I felt soulless. And I actually had TMJ really bad. And excuse me. And we
just go, what is TMJ for those who don't know, and then keep going with that.
Yes. Sorry. I'm so used to just saying it. TMJ is when you're grinding or clenching your jaw and you're constantly doing this with your teeth. You're getting headaches from it. Some people will get ringing in their ears from it. Usually it comes from really tight neck pain. Your traps are really tight. It's stress induced. So what I do is I put on gloves, go inside of your mouth and release your jaw. So release all around here. I at 28 years old, I had horrible TMJ. My dentist just give you a night guard, and the night guard wasn't helping. It was promoting my grinding and my clenching. And I just didn't know anything about how to hold your body or anything like that. So I started getting TMJ work by actually my ex, who was a rolfer. And that's how everything just went from there. Once I started getting the TMJ work, I started realizing, oh, I'm not really in my body. I'm not really breathing. I'm not structurally holding my body correctly. I started doing a ton of yoga. I became a yoga teacher. I went to massage school. I was doing a ton of acupuncture. And from there, moved to LA. I actually worked with a lot of celebrities in LA, but I did not enjoy LA. Nothing wrong with Los Angeles, but just I did not enjoy it. The celebrities were actually great. I will say that. I worked on some amazing, amazing celebrities. But I wanted a brick and mortar. Came back to San Francisco, opened up my spa, and here we are. Like it's been over 20 years. During COVID, was the roughest patch I've ever been through. My spa is located in the Mission District of San Francisco. We call the area of the spas in Mission Creek. We were shut down for almost 2 years. The city really didn't help. I mean, it was quite horrible. And what I noticed was a ton of my clients were calling me and going, "Oh my God, I'm so stressed out. I have really bad TMJ and I need you." So it was just this, okay, when I can work on you, I'll bring you into the spa, wearing double mask and just started working on people, doing exclusively TMJ work. And that's now what I do. That's all I do is I do 15-minute sessions, 30-minute sessions, hour sessions. And my employees who work with me are deep tissue and sports massage therapists. So I do my TMJ work, and then I send my clients over to my body workers. And then our esthetician does gua sha, which really helps with TMJ. So the spa has really become less of a spa and more of a clinic, and very much, a structural clinic. Like I always think of us as PTs at the top, and we're really like right below it, because we're there to help people get out of pain, to understand their body, get back into their body. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so important to have all aspects of the team. Before we go in there, I want to know about more of the mindfulness breathwork kind of stuff to that. But before we go there, let me tell you a story what happened in COVID. They were doing movies, right? So Toronto's a big movie area, LA is a big movie area. And so everything had to shut down except the movie people were allowed to do their thing, sit together at tables, high five, spitting on each other, whatever, right? Who cares? Anyway, this hairdresser, same thing like you. She got her shop was just shut down. So what she did, she got people to come into her studio, and I don't know how she got paid or anything like that, but they made it so that it was a film, and they were filming conversations of people getting their hair cut. And so these people could still get their hair. Yeah. And they tried to like shut her down and everything. She's like, "What do you think?" And then it became a big thing where you're like, how's the movie industry allowed to do that and we're not, right? But anyway.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, brilliant idea though, I thought.
Absolutely.
So you're in this space now where you have this spa. Tell us about the name of it. You said there's a couple different practitioners. Is there any that we're missing out of there? And what kind of stuff do you do besides all the beauty esthetician and stuff? I love this. We make them beautiful on the outside, but I'm sure you'll also make them beautiful on the inside. So let's do that part.
That's what I try to do, honestly. I less care about the outside, because a lot of times you can walk around looking whatever, hot as can be on the outside, but your inside is falling apart. You can drive that $100,000 car, but it's all a mess underneath. So, I'm all about tuning up what is going on inside of you. So my spa, it's called In Symmetry Spa, insymmetryspa.com. We have been along, I started it at 28 years old. I've been around as a brick and mortar. Well, it's been around for over 20 years as a brick and mortar for about 20. We actually made 20 years during COVID, which was like, are you kidding me right now? Like we were not up. I've had up to 25 employees. When COVID hit, I had 16 employees and we had to shut down that day. And I haven't gotten back up there. Right now I'm at about 8 employees. I manage about 10. I have someone who runs my esthetician room, because I'm not an esthetician. So I actually, I have another business that we went into business together. So that's great. That takes me, but I manage everybody. So I manage about 10 people, and it's great. I have an amazing, amazing staff. And because I've worked side by side with these guys, we only do deep tissue and sports massage. We do have facials, waxing, all of that. But even in our facials, we call everything results driven. So when you come into our spa, it's not like going into a Ritz-Carlton. Like we have a lot of men who come in, and that's a big thing. Men don't always, straight men really don't always want to go into like a Ritz-Carlton and get services. Whereas with us, we're clinic really more than anything. So we have a lot of male clients, female clients. We have everything. I've been around forever. I mean, my client list is huge now. So, we're open 7 days a week, 9 to 9. And I manage everything. Before I actually had managers and all of that. And ever since COVID, I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to do everything. So I went from having a very passive income sort of life to coming out of COVID and taking on clients again, which I hadn't done in a very long time. I love it. It's absolutely, I love all of my clients. And then managing everyone again, which I hadn't really done in a long time. So COVID was it changed my life in pretty great ways. I wish I wouldn't have told you that in 2019. I'd be like, oh, I don't want to ever do that again. And now I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I hear a couple times through your story painting the purpose from the very beginning to like 28 opening the company, going through 20 years while COVID, and then like figuring out, hey, this is nice. I'd like to be back in here. I think when we talk about, I was writing about COVID today, and I was thinking, how can you make a business? This is where we're going to shift into business consulting. But I was writing about how you could make a business pandemic proof, just pandemic proof. And I was thinking about Uber and how overnight nobody needed an Uber car anymore. But all of a sudden, everyone started downloading Uber Eats. And they went from 18 million in the first 10 days, 18 million to 66 million users just in that 2-week period. And they didn't have to lay off any of their staff because all the drivers who were delivering people just started delivering food. And I'm just like, wow, what an amazing story, right? And I started digging into it and jumping down to this rabbit hole, and the numbers are staggering. They made $12.1 billion in the last 8 or 10 years, and most of it after COVID in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I have my own issues with Uber, on many levels from a small business, because I wear a lot of hats, and one of my hats is small business, and yeah, that's like a whole other conversation about 1099 contractors versus W-2 employees, and right. and how Uber is actually valued. So those numbers are great, and yes, taking a business and making it bulletproof against like something like COVID is quite remarkable. But I also want to say Uber, had a lot of those numbers. They're interesting numbers.
They just got kicked out of a part of Canada. They're not allowed to do their service anymore. A judge magistrate at the Supreme Court said no, thank you. But I guess what I want to do there is kind of go into business consulting. But we'll leave Uber out of it.
Yeah, I have. You got to think, I'm in the heart of it all in San Francisco, right? What? It all starts here. Uber literally started here in our backyard. And Lyft was right around the corner from my spa. I worked with them very, very early on. It's just when you go into the small business versus big business, and what big business can get away with versus what a small business will get pinged every single day for, doesn't always make me the happiest person on earth.
The article was about, just so we have more context, the article I was writing was about limiting beliefs. And so after that part,
I like that. Okay.
after that part, I was talking about how like we all had it in our phone and that we got overnight, we got rid of the gym membership and we put in Uber Eats, and how limiting beliefs are just that. You can drop them in and out that quickly.
I like that. I like that switch to limiting beliefs, because I agree with you. That's one of the things I did during COVID was I had to fight against that every single day, every single solitary day. I went from, and this is where when we jump into my sobriety or we jump into business consulting, this is where I'll talk a lot about that. Because I was sober, I was able to think so clearly. And the pivot, right? I pivoted so many times because there was two things I could do. The one thing was, oh, okay, I can give up. I can completely stop what I'm doing, right? And I can just go into a fetal position, which, don't get me wrong, there were many times I was like, holy God, what is going to happen? But that pivot, and the pivot for me was business consulting. I helped out a lot of businesses. Now, I didn't always get paid. I'm going to be real with you, but at the same time, what it did was it drove my soul, because there's things about like, there's a monetary, you're getting paid. And then there's the, what is going to fulfill your soul? And during COVID, I got so filled by just helping businesses think about what their pivot would be. And I agree with you. Like, and I talked about limiting mindset a lot. And I was like, during COVID, you had to wake up every day and go, okay, I got this. Because I had to fight not only for my business, but for an entire industry, because they wanted to keep us down. And it was me, it was massage, and I'm the president of the Massage Council. It was hairdressers, it was estheticians, tattoo. We all had to create an alliance, and we were meeting with the city and state leaders. And through one of my connections, thank you God, a good friend of mine, actually walked in a letter to the governor of California, and we were then able to get open, because what we were saying was, we can do this safely. We can do this safely. So I that limiting mindset, every single day during COVID, I had to wake up and go, you know what? I'm going to be okay. I can keep doing this. Let's go forward. I was in the New York Times during COVID. I was on the radio. There's an entire article on me, and my picture was actually in the New York Times. So I never stopped. I never stopped. And you know what? It was through, I know you're a coach, and I had so many coaches during COVID, so many coaches, because I needed that help. I needed that extra, like, let's go. We got this. You got to do this. Like, where's that pivot today? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. I did the same in COVID. I knew it was bad right away. I'm like, I'm not going to, the first week I started looking at the numbers every day, and then I was like, what am I doing? I'm just going to hurt myself here. Like, we heard what's going to happen. And anyway, I kind of detached from it, but I also made a conscious decision right at the very beginning that I need to come out of this better than I'm going in. And so I was just doubled down and like taking courses, double courses. I made sure I had 2 courses every day I was taking. I was just writing and doing all sorts of extra, like, knowing that it would end up benefiting me later, right? And like,
yeah,
it's same at the beginning. You said like that when you were younger too, you did the Silicon Valley thing. You were really good, made lots of money, but you didn't have your soul, you said, right? I was the same. In the past, I used to be on 33 pills a day for like a tumor in my spine, and I couldn't feel my soul. And then once I stopped taking those pills, I got my soul back. But it doesn't matter which story resonates with the listener here. The fact is that like once you step into your soul, your purpose, we're meant to be happy. We're not meant to be miserable people. And I think a lot of people, maybe their soul is covered up right now.
Well, I'm an Enneagram 8, and justice is always what I'm. Oh, you're an 8 too, yeah, of course. You know, justice is always what I'm going for, and I feel like right now, coming out of COVID, and without COVID, I am unbelievably grateful for COVID, because without it, I wouldn't be right here where I am, and I made such huge improvements to my business because of COVID. Even though if you look back at numbers, right, and this is where, when we were talking about Uber, this is where I was sort of coming from. If you look back at my numbers, so if you go through my QuickBooks and you're like, well, Candace, you look at what you did, you made $900,000 a year. That's gross. That's not net. $900,000 a year up until, 2020. Well, guess what? I wasn't happy. There were so many things I didn't feel this purpose in my life. And yes, I was making a lot of money. I mean, I was able to pay myself a big salary, but was I happy? No. Whereas now, helping people with TMJ, helping people with sobriety, with business issues, like anything like that, as an Enneagram 8, I am so much happier today than I ever was, before COVID. So
Service, right? It's serving people. One thing for me, once I stopped focusing on myself and focused on other people, my pain just diminished right away. So I love it. I think you did touch on sobriety. I would love to know how that affected you going through COVID, but just even that whole sobriety journey and your 5-day sober reset.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about, I have numerous resets on CandaceCombs.com, and they also all came out of COVID. My sobriety didn't come out of COVID. I've been sober 8.5 years now, very passionately sober 8.5 years now. But I wrote the self-love reset during COVID. I wrote a money reset, because what we were just talking about mindset stuff during COVID. And actually, Courtney Moore, who was on your podcast, she and I ran a sober group. I think it was January of 2023. It was about 6 people, I believe. It was so much fun. And I ended up out of doing it. We did the Sober January. We did a 5-week Sober January course with people. Out of that, I ended up writing my 5-week sober reset that you can purchase on the website for $87. And it's this really easy intro. You can take a break. You can become fully sober. And I think it's this easy way to jump into sober living and give yourself a clean 5 weeks to see how your brain feels, to wake up without a hangover, to be clear, to start serving people. Because I think one of the things with when you're on drugs and alcohol is you just are selfish. I mean, period, end of story. There's just no other way of putting it, right? And so one of my things is, now that I'm sober, and I've been sober for 8.5 years, I'm not a selfish person. I mean, I'm sure I have moments of selfish. I'm human, right? But the big picture, I am there to help people. Where I think when you're using drugs or alcohol, you really are mostly a selfish human being. Where when you're sober, I would say you're mostly not a selfish human being. You're mostly a person who wants to help people. So that's why I wrote all of those, and they really all came out of COVID. I never would have done this without COVID happening.
Awesome. So I guess as we begin to wind down, if this episode resonates with you, please like, subscribe, share, follow, leave a review on Spotify. That'll help us out. And if you're interested in either TMJ, business consulting, health and wellness, or if you're in the San Francisco area, go to In Symmetry Spa. And you can also get the Sober Reset. We'll leave some links in there for that website. But check out Candace. You've heard what she's got to offer, and it's quite a lot. And her story, I'm sure, resonates, because even if it's not alcohol, like, everyone's addicted to something. Maybe it's social media. And so I'm sure that the Sober Reset will do it for that as well. It's almost like a detox if you ever get for the socials. But I always ask everyone this question. This is the Phase 4 podcast, and Phase 4 in the 6-phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani is all about creating your future 3 years from today. So where is Candace 3 years from today?
Oh, I love these questions. Actually, I would love for my sober reset to really take off, and I'd love to be taking people through sobriety, like creating, groups with people, helping them with their sobriety. That's what I'm truly, truly passionate about. And then that goes hand in hand with my TMJ and my spa. I want my spa to become, we were booked 7 days a week, and I want my spa to go beyond where we were before. And my TMJ is already really booked, so I would like it to grow even more, and I would like to do a lot of podcasts about it, possibly write a book. And one thing is, travel is one of my passions. I want to be traveling, talking on the road. That is definitely one of my passions. So I would love more travel in my life, because I have to say, I traveled a lot before 2020, and that was the one thing about COVID. Oof, when you can't travel, that's been a tough pill to swallow. So I'd like to get back into more travel. So that's where I'd like to be.
Awesome. I was actually going to ask you about some of the pictures in the background, and a lot of them seem to be doing with travel.
I love traveling. My wife is, like I said, Canadian, but her family's in England. So we go back every summer and spend, 3 to 4 weeks there. And I love England. So there I am driving around on the wrong, they drive on the wrong side of the road over there. So,
so let's talk about if someone's realizing that they don't want to be an alcoholic, or that they have an addiction problem, that they don't want to have it anymore, but they're just so stuck they don't even know where to start. What would you recommend?
I mean, it depends on where you are in your addiction. If you're ready to take a break, my 5-week sober reset is great. And one of the things I promote in my 5-week sober reset is get therapy. So I'm not only saying, hey, take my 5-week sober reset and go through all of the steps, and you're going to come out of it better, because you will, absolutely. But it takes a village. So that's what I would tell somebody. It takes a village. You need to, if you're sick of being sick and tired, that's what people say a lot. Like they're just sick of being sick and tired. Doing something like my 5-week sober reset is going to get you out of that hamster wheel. But it takes a village. So you also need to find a therapist. And I am also a coach, so they can always schedule something with me. Anyone who buys it gets to schedule something with me. And, I can support you. I can support people going through this process, because I'm not going to say it's an easy process, but it's the greatest thing you'll ever, ever, ever do for yourself, ever.
And if that resonates with you, it's because you already know that it's true. And so I would say to reach out. I have a question. How about workplace burnout? Would that fit in that sober reset course, or?
Absolutely. That's where TMJ and sober reset marry each other. I can do my TMJ work. Yes, I need to go inside your mouth. I need to release your neck, your shoulders, your legs. But if you're suffering with TMJ, you can call me and set up a coaching call, and we can walk through ways that you can get help. Workplace burnout, usually you're in full TMJ. Usually you're grinding, you're clenching. Some people have low back issues with it also. So the TMJ and the low back, getting headaches, getting all of the things. Definitely you can, the 5-week sober reset can help you through that. Anytime you clear your head, anytime you detox yourself, you're going to have massive changes in your life. Massive.
Right. Even like with energy, if you don't eat for 24 hours, you actually will end up with more energy and you shift a little bit. I think the powerful thing with this reset, it seems like we're at a point where people don't want to go back to the way it was. Like, people are refusing to go back to the office. Right now, the government of Canada has this big thing with their employees where they're like trying to get them to come back to 3 days a week from 2 days. And they're like, no, we're not doing it. You went online overnight and now we like it, right? So
Yeah.
And there's a mind-body connection. So it's either emotional or there's psychological trauma from something you either know about or don't even know about, but it can manifest as disease. So that can look like burnout, but even alcohol and things like that, they're depressive, antidepressants, you're just masking something, right? We talked about that fog. So we want to try to lift the fog. And what I love about what you do is it seems like you're taking the mind-body connection and you're doing all sides of it, not just one side.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That you nailed it. Good job. You're gonna have to come to San Francisco and experience some of this. But yeah, it is the mind body connection. And we always think we're like, oh, this one piece of me is hurting. I'm getting headaches all the time, or my jaw, I'm clenching constantly. That is because of something that's going on in your life. And I tell my clients that go and get Botox, or they buy something that some dentist has told them is going to cure their TMJ. They come in and go, oh, it made it worse. I said, yeah, because you put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. So it's there's no way. You have to get in connection with your body, and part of it is no one breathes. And when you're sitting at a desk all day like this, and you don't move for 3 to 4 hours, and you're just living here, and you forgot you have feet, you forgot you have all of the things. That is my job to go, let's close your eyes. Let's take deep breaths. Let's remember we have a body, because we forget about the body, and it is the mind-body connection.
Right. Fortunately for you, unfortunately for lots of people, it looks like you're going to be doing good business for a long time. And I guess before I ask my final question, I kind of let the guests take it wherever they want. So if you have something to sell it. If you have a message of hope or inspiration, or just something you want to share.
I mean, I've said a lot I'm definitely a talker. The thing I will say is you can change your life. You can. Your life can become better. And it doesn't even take a lot. It just takes getting in your body, taking a breath, stop putting toxins into your body. It could be from, sodas to alcohol, any of those, like, just make some big changes in your life, because that's going to change your thought process. Like what you said earlier, your thoughts rule you. Our thoughts rule us. And when we're putting stuff like alcohol, taking too many pills, or whatever it is, McDonald's, like fast food, then you're putting negative thoughts into your body, because you're not feeding your body. So I would just say, just doing a simple detox, whatever it is, my reset and my self-love, whatever detox it is, that will immediately give you a massive, massive change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wayne Dyer has a book. It's called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, or Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Reality. I forget. But he says something like, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And it's so true.
Absolutely.
And I think the place to start with that is just open your phone and look at the apps that are no longer serving you and delete them, and maybe install some new apps, if you get the metaphor. But Candace, my final question is, how can people reach you?
The best way is to, there's 2 ways. You can go to In Symmetry Spa. There, I think my email's somewhere on there. You can just send an email. It's going to come to me. But you can also go to CandaceCombs.com, and there's a million ways to get in touch with me there. So you can put my email up too. It's ccombs@insymmetryspa.com.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Candace,
Yeah.
thank you for your time today. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so grateful. Thank you. And I will say one thing about apps. I stopped using Facebook in being obsessed with Facebook in 2015. And I stopped following every person I know and only follow my groups. And that's all I do is business stuff on Facebook. And I just tend not to look at it that often. So I can completely stop that addictive behavior in 2015. So
And how does it feel? How did it feel?
immediately it felt great. It's like one of those things that simple fix, take something away, shift. Yes. That simple shift changed so much in my life. The negativity, right, just like that, within 2 days, or it might not have been 2 days, it might have been within 24 hours, I felt better. And I just have never followed anyone again. So I don't even know what happens in Facebook. I don't know what people put up there. I only know about my groups. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to see my business groups, and I'm in a group with you, the podcast group. And I wanted to be able to see cat videos. I mean, you know what? People can't get enough of cat videos.
I'm with you. I think the reason I keep going here is because that's so huge. I always tell my son, like, if you either use it to your advantage or it's going to control you and take all your time. Like, if you're using it to run a business, perfect. That's what it's for. But don't be the other person who's just sitting there like the 99% responding and reacting. Sorry. But yeah, I love it. So again, thank you for your time today. That was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.